This is the thing that is keeping me peaceful in the initial days, which is actually a barrage for a lot of people. We guys here, if we just keep repeating our gooning habits, obviously this body is gonna fall weak and this body is gonna pass away. What is gonna happen if we do not let this out? Well, still, the body is gonna pass away. But you know, when you just keep yourself together here, when you do not goon, and the purpose of modern no gooning is, you have to surpass the lust for a women's body. And when you do that, you will also be able to surpass the other things that you fall for. And when you don't fall for anything, you'll only fall for your job. Peace is really guaranteed when you get yourself under him. This is gonna allow you to free your brain from all the body work that you wanna have on yourself while you're laying flat on your bed. You'll be able to foresee things like you were never able to because you're blinded by the body. We only have one life. Bro, next life, next body is already waiting. Practices, of course, do get distracted from here, but all that distraction just plays here. It does not reach my hands. It does not reach my legs. I do not end up in the washroom. I am the youngest one here, so they know how a child is born. And how is he so normal? Like, my guys do ask me, don't you feel like doing that? In the last two videos of mine, I was telling you guys I'm trying to keep myself clean, and I was successfully able to do that. And how did I do it? It was because of the spiritual knowledge. But what is that spiritual knowledge? So today in this video, I'm going to share that. And obviously, I cannot share all of it just at this once because it's like 18 chapters that are going to comprise of that. So I'm going to share chapter 2 of that spiritual knowledge from Bhagavad Gita, from God directly, because yeah, this is the thing that is keeping me peaceful in the initial days, which is actually a barrage for a lot of people. Like, a lot of people cannot hold themselves in their initial days because these days are the hardest, and also you're more prone to just get more tempted to these things and get lured into it and lose yourself in it and maybe not even recover ever from it. So yeah, I'm doing it really peacefully, and because for the last couple days, like, I started clean on June 19, 2026, and before that, I was going crazy, like from the month of April to June. Yeah, I did have a lot of fun there. I've already explained the chapter 1 from Bhagavad Gita, so if you want to just know what was it all about and how does it relate to her struggle here, I will recommend you should be watching that chapter 1 as well. I've created a playlist already, like you can catch it all over there. So Mr. Arjuna is in a situation where he's grieving immensely and is asking God Krishna directly, like, how can I ever attack my own bloodline? I know we both are here and we are here for the throne and we're about to go ham on each other, but why would I do it when I know this is not even gonna be fun when I just take these guys out? They'll be all wiped out, like I'll finish them all. And I'll be the one who'll be watching their dead bodies. And how is that gonna be fun? Like, what fun is my kingdom gonna be when I don't have my own people to enjoy it with? And God Krishna went like, you are really wise on this one, but you're lamenting for something really that is unworthy. And in return, God Krishna explained there was never a time when all these guys were not existing. They have existed in the past, including you, including me, and all this opposition. They have existed in the past. They are existing in the present. And obviously they're going to exist in the future too. So he was trying to explain was like childhood, youth, and old age are the phases of the body. You know, the body just goes away with time, but the soul never goes. It's always going to be like this. We guys here, if we just keep repeating our gooning habits, obviously this body is going to fall weak and this body is going to pass away. What is going to happen if we do not let this out? Well, still, the body is gonna pass away. But you know, when you just keep yourself together here, when you do not goon, and the purpose of modern no gooning is, you have to surpass the lust for a women's body. And when you do that, you will also be able to surpass the other things that you fall for. And when you don't fall for anything, you'll only fall for your job, because job is like inevitable. And God explains further, interaction with the sense objects leads to experience of joy and sorrow, which are as temporary as the seasons summer and winter that continually come and go. Meaning, if you're just getting turned on, it's always going to be like this. You just cannot put this away. You cannot defeat this, but you can surpass this. And why we cannot defeat this? Because later in the chapters, God has mentioned, like, I alone by my will rule this material energy, the Maya, like my divine energy. This is all because of me. Like, I have created this. You cannot destroy it, but obviously you can surpass it. You can be beyond this. Because, and why we just cannot destroy this? Because this is actually the working and learning ground for a lot of people. And by this, he is teaching, like, he exists. There's something more beyond than the sensory things that we have here. Like, sensory thing is like everything that you can feel. Could be the body. For me, when I don't get the body, I'm all about motorcycles and all the other tech stuff. For you guys, it could be something else, obviously, but everything you can feel on this material planet, with your material body, with your material eyes, all of this has a beginning, then it just goes on for a couple days, maybe years, and then it's gonna end. So why do you even have to fall for something that is not true? Because God said, you must adapt to them, tolerate them without losing your balance. But in the later chapters, he also mentions you have to surpass this as well. But okay, we'll get to that in a bit. And then God goes, if one is wise enough to tolerate dualities, to whom joy and sorrow are one and the same, he becomes qualified for eternal life. Oh, Arjuna, the best of men. That which is temporary is not the ultimate reality, because the ultimate reality is unchangeable and indestructible. This is the conclusion derived by the wise who have pondered on this subject at length. Meaning, everything that we are facing here, including our urges to get bad, that is also temporary. You can be at peace with this, and once, like I told you guys, this chaos energy builds up, you want to put this energy into something else, but you should be only pouring this energy in a way that is amplifying your prowess to do your job you were always destined to be. Like for me, because I have been through this a lot of times, I definitely feel like I know the reason, the modern reason why it should be done. It should be shared with people, because it's not only about me. And even if I really didn't have any of these facilities to share it with you guys, I was still gonna go for it, because it was not like, do I want to do it or do I not want to do it? It felt like an inevitable job. It must be done. And fortunately, God has also blessed me with a lot of tech here to share with you guys. So he said, in my heart, I can really hear it. Do it. Sacrifice this joy to me, like you have to sacrifice this joy of yours, and you have to devote this to me, like me as God here. And then also tell people, peace is really guaranteed when you get yourself under him. But to get under him, you'll have to perform sacrifices, and you'll have to stay clean for a lot of days. And by staying clean, it's not only Gooning, it's almost a lot of, and in reality, it's actually everything. And further, God goes, imperishable and indestructible, that is the nature of the soul, which pervades the body. What can be destroyed is the external body, housing the imperishable and indestructible soul. O descendant of Partha, rise and fight. Meaning, even if you don't goon, even if you're clean for a lot of years, you were always supposed to stay like this. And if you goon, obviously your body's gonna weaken, and you might not pass away faster, but later in those days, you are going to have some kind of regret, like, why did I not stop there? And if you stop there, this is going to allow you to free your brain from all the body work that you want to have on yourself while you're laying flat on your bed. And also, when you're free of this, you'll be able to foresee things like you were never able to, because you're blinded by the body. When you don't get something, you have a really quick method of just typing it on your device, and then it's gonna pop up in front of you. You can have all your fun, and once this joy is over, after a couple minutes of enjoying and doing it, you wanna have it again. If not in a couple days, maybe in a couple hours, and that is why we have heard people have gone for like 8 to 9 times in a day. Yeah, this is what it is all about. So, body obviously is destined to be destroyed, but if you do not do it, you have a lot better chance of doing your job, what you were destined to be, and then you can share it with the mankind. Because yeah, to improve the mankind and then bringing this entire mankind under God is the ultimate goal. And taking a look further, God has mentioned there is no birth or death for the soul. Like for a lot of verses, God is explaining what soul is all about. Because you know what? In the further chapters, God has also mentioned soul is actually a fragment of me. So there's a hierarchy to all of this. First one is the sensory objects, like all these things like mirrors, like a woman's body or something else that is in your head. That is a sensory object. So beyond these objects, there are your senses. And beyond your senses, it's your mind. And beyond the mind is intelligence. And beyond intelligence is the soul. And beyond soul is the super soul. But both soul and super soul just cannot be distilled. Like that is what the nature of soul is. Soul is indestructible. It does not have any birth. Neither it does have any death. It is like eternal. It's never gonna fade away because that is a fragment of God. And you know why every person is different, why every kind of soul is just a different type of soul? Because also in the further chapters, God tells us all of you guys here, all the living beings, or some kind of form of me. You'll find all these living beings inside me, okay? So if you see another kind of person, another kind of guy with separate type of nature is a whole different thing, but still soul is different. And everybody has their own type of soul, meaning there's a guy who's looking for a partner and believes in having a life together. Whereas on the other side, there's a guy who says, I can handle it all alone. I do not need anyone. So this is a type of soul. These two guys are a type of soul. Similarly, there are a lot of souls here. Even the animals have this soul. But why are the animals? That's a separate explanation in the further chapters. Obviously, it's coming up. But yeah, there is no birth or death for the soul. It just keeps going on and on. If this body explodes, if this body, obviously this body is going to pass away, and we humans have made it in a way like we call it, we only have one life. Bro, next life, next body is already waiting. The only problem is we just do not know in what form we are going to be when we take that next life. So that is why one life, yeah, only one life in the way we can see it. A lot of lives, like God says, it takes like practices of births to reach me. Practices of births, meaning you do not even know like how many times you were born, and you do not even know how many times you will be born, even more if you do not align yourself with the correct things. But yeah, soul is just ceaseless. And speaking of Mr. Arjuna, while God Krishna is explaining all of this to him, he is also telling Mr. Arjuna, if you do not do your duty, if you still refuse to fight this dharmic battle, you're sinning by not performing your duty. You will lose your reputation too. Okay, so we do not have, or maybe we do have a matter of reputation here, but I believe in my soul because I have been through this so many times, and right now I'm a couple days clean initially, which is almost unreal. Like just like this, I started going clean, and I'm not even at like chaos. How do I tame myself, control myself? Because the situation is really hard for me. I explained to you in my videos, I do not have a job for me right now because of circumstances here. And I'm the only one who can solve those problems here, because if I'm not around, all these guys just started down. Like, where is this guy? We need him ASAP. So I have to be here. I cannot go out for long rides. I cannot go out for having fun. I have told myself I'm not gonna let my white ass loose. Shouldn't I be just going crazy? Shouldn't I be losing my head? Like, how do I even enjoy my day? I am doing my job and I'm enjoying my job. I do not need joy. I do not need sorrow. The fact that I've been given this opportunity to share it with you guys and explain it to you guys on length, because God, again, in the later chapter said, I love the guy who tells people about me and shares my message with them, brings them on the right path. And also for the guys who do not want to listen to this knowledge, but if you know it and these guys do not want to take it, I also want you to not give it to them, because I'll deal with these guys later. But for the guy who knows it all, and because I have read it so many times, I start my morning with this. I'll wake up, I won't read it, I'll write it so I can feel what God is telling. And by the end of the day, I'll try to stick myself with it. Although I do get distracted from here, but all that distraction just plays here. It does not reach my hands. It does not reach my legs. I do not end up in washroom. Okay, I am keeping myself together. You do not even have to go on length to feel peaceful. If you just start aligning yourself with this, you will feel some kind of power, peace to maneuver through this chaos. Because obviously in the initial days, it's hard, but I am not the guy who is turning it for the first time. I do not even know for which number of time I'm going with it again. But yeah, I feel peaceful. I have mastered this to some degree. If you fight because it is your responsibility to start hurting joy, sorrow, profit, loss, victory, or defeat, then there is no sin incurred either. Meaning, I know what I felt. I know what I've been through. And I'm sharing it with you guys. So let's just say I missed on a couple things. Not intentionally, I'm giving you everything that I've learned from my experiences. And if there's something that I cannot recall in my head, or if there are any imperfections in my work, which obviously Hakens can, that's totally fine. Because God said, I love the guys who are all about their job. And even if they do it with imperfections, that's still far better than not doing your job or to be indulged in somebody else's job. Because I have made you a separate individual, because I want you to do a couple things that only you are destined to do. That guy has been assigned with some other duties. So that is why you guys are two different guys. You both are two different bodies. If I wanted you to be aligned with that guy, truly, I would have made you a part of him. Maybe his arm, maybe his hair, whatever, but you are just two separate individuals. So I want you to do your job, and I want you to do your job disregarding any joy, sorrow, profit, or loss, because when you are really about your job, and you know it has to be given, and you do not expect any result from it, that is when a job is really, really being done under his eye. That is what he considers a job. Do not even expect a result, and what's inevitable must be given, which is exactly what I'm doing with you guys, sharing it all with you guys. How do I keep myself peaceful? Following the path of dharma will never go to waste. It will never hamper your progress, whereas even a little advancement will save you from many dangers. Meaning, even if you guys are just not able to do it the way you thought in your head you were going to do it, let's just say you said you are going to stay 7 days clean. And you stayed 7 days clean, but you were really, really struggling because you were going back and forth in your washroom while having that shower. You had the total opportunity to move your hand down there because you were the only one inside the bathroom having that shower, and nobody was going to knock on your door please show up. What are you up to in there? It was going to be all cool. Everybody was going to take it okay, he's having his shower. And everybody knows, because you are an adult, you have feelings. He could be enjoying, he could not be enjoying. But truthfully, if you controlled yourself for 7 days while maneuvering yourself through the storm, that is improvement. That is advancement. That is duty. If this is something that was always holding you back, and for a lot of people it is the case. I know, I have heard it. I have heard a lot of stories. A lot of people do tell me, how do we even stop ourselves? It is real, bro. You have to surpass this. So, but as God mentioned, it's going to save you from many dangers, even a little advancement. So I started just like this. And right now, I'm not in those baby toddler crawling days, I can easily take a walk without falling. I know what are the things that are trapped here, and I know how do I handle myself after that when I don't give myself this very pleasure. And further, there are a lot more things that I know what they all mean, but right now you won't be able to understand it all. Just know the most important ones, because sticking yourself to these ones is also gonna give you that peace. And once you get a little peaceful, you guys can let me know. I will give you a full version of it. Like, I'll read every single verse to you guys. But right now, giving you every single verse is also going to keep you some kind of lost. So I'll give you the basic ones, like the most inevitable ones, which will save you and protect you and will deliver for that peace and that energy to surpass the state of yours. Although you're eligible to perform your duties of Kshatriya, we do not need to know this, but you have no right to the result of that action. Remember that you're not the cause of that result, and you still cannot shy away from work. Now, this is one of the most important verses for me, and I just cannot stress on it enough because, okay, I'll tell you what's happening with me. I've been doing YouTube for the last 6 years, and my intent was always like, I want to make money off YouTube. I do not want to get a job, which I don't have. Like, I did have it for a couple years, but in my heart, I never really wanted this. I wanted to do this, and I started with this thing in 2020. 6 years have passed by. I haven't got any viral video until now. I haven't made any money out of this. Yeah, I do this because I want this to be my source of monetization, of my income. But you know what? I never really got it. And I'm still doing it. And this time, why am I doing it? Because I asked myself this question: if I was not making any money out of this, let's just say YouTube didn't exist, was I gonna do this or was I not gonna do this? Is this something really necessary? And the answer came out to be, this is not necessary, sir. This is actually inevitable. You must do it, even if nobody is watching you. And that's what I'm doing. I am still doing it, but fortunately, God has decided to bless me with all this gear here, like this mic, this device, a stand, so I can share it with you guys. So yeah, I'll say 70% of me does want to have the result for my actions, but 30% is also there, which says, even if you do not get any result, like, this is my kind of prayer with God, but I won't share it with you guys because, yeah, I just like to keep these things private between me and him. 70%, yes, I do want the outcome. 30% is total purity. Even if I don't get the outcome or whatever it's gonna be, it must be given. It's not even a question of, should I post this, should I not post this? This should be given and delivered to the people because this has resulted for my peace. And peace is the number one thing. It's actually never ending because I am trying to do His work. And later again in the chapters, He said, without contemplation on God, peace cannot be attained in this life, leave alone the next one. You're suffering right now in your human years, and the next time, whatever kind of body you take, you are going to suffer there as well. You will find no peace because you didn't come under me. And if you want to have this everlasting peace, I am the only, like, I'm not even an option. I am the only you have to get yourself under, and that's the only thing you can do. If you want to have it. If you don't want to have it, obviously, next body's waiting, next life's waiting. You can go for that. And he also mentions further, fix your mind on duty without any thought of the resulting success or failure, and achieve the steadiness of yoga. Because yoga is stick to your job without asking for any result, without asking for any joy or sorrow from it. Whatever is the inevitable right now, that is your job. Choose to act on the basis of disciplined intelligence rather than desire for enjoyment, because only the miserly cling to the fruits of actions, O conqueror of wealth. I am 70% miserly, I admit it, okay? And endowed with the yogic wisdom, the wise decline the fruits of their actions, which bind them to the cycle of life and death. Thus liberated, they find peace and freedom from suffering. So when you do your inevitable job, like you know this must be done, like this must be given to you guys, you actually release yourself from the cycle of birth and death. And obviously, again, there's more explanation to it. Like if you are able to successfully, like really able to do it, you will never take birth on any material planet, but you'll go directly to him from where there is no return. And after hearing this all, Mr. Arjuna is totally baffled and is asking God Krishna, like, what kind of behavior does this person have materially when he has conquered everything inside them? When one is in divine consciousness, one gives up all desires arising from the mind and finds satisfaction in the self alone. This is a really important thing, because this goes back to when you're holding yourself here and when you're not letting this energy out of yourself, you're building this chaos energy. And obviously, we humans are just wired to put this energy somewhere else. Like I explained, for me, it's motorcycles. For you guys, obviously, it's something else. But it's not only about keeping yourself free from your gooning habits. Once you do that, there are other things that you'll be looking forward to. No. You do not have to look forward to sensory things you can feel, but be focused on the self alone. And what does being focused on the self alone mean? That means you have to be whole in your own self. Meaning, right now, obviously, I'm a couple days clean, but for the last couple days, I haven't watched any motorcycles. I haven't watched anything for my own entertainment. I am not listening to music, my type of music that makes me feel a certain way. I am also sticking to the food habits that I should be sticking by. I'm eating boiled a lot. A couple times, yeah, I am taking other things, but mostly it is like straight. I'm going really good for these couple days, like since I have started all my things. So this is the meaning of being focused on the self alone. Like you have to be whole at the moment, at the spot you are. Because if you cannot do that, obviously you are going to get into something else. And those things on this material planet, or the material things, which obviously we heard from God, they have a beginning, they stand by for a couple years, days, and then they pass away. This is a cycle. It just keeps going on and on. Like a tortoise pulls his limbs into his shell, one keeps his senses under control. Often, one may keep the senses, like you may be able to tame yourself, but the taste for these objects still remain, because obviously you know what it feels like, and it's really hard to give up on all that feeling, all that taste. And I totally agree with that. That is the reason I have been failing for last couple of years, because I never really wanted to give up this. But someday I will have to, because if not, I am carrying this maliciousness with myself to my next body. And it's not even guaranteed will I be a human next time, because I do not know what I was in my past lives. Do not even know what I will become in the next life if I do not qualify for God's heavenly abode, as he calls it. But right now, I am a human. And as I'm able to break this down for myself, this is doable if you actually will to free yourself from it. Like, have a will to surpass and free yourself from it forever and be unmoved by it forever. And obviously, this can be done. The moment you stick yourself to this, trust me, it is not as hard to keep yourself away from all of this, okay? The only way to maintain steady wisdom is to control your senses and absorb your mind and me, meaning you do not have to focus on these sensory objects. Again, for me, my motorcycles and all the other things. And when I'm not thinking about that, I am thinking about him. I am bringing my focus, my intelligence, and my energy to him. And what does he say? Do your job, disregarding any joy, sorrow, or profit. That is how you're just getting closer to me. Because in the next chapter, this is what he exactly talks about. If you think about sense objects, it will lead attachment to them, and attachment begets desires, and unfulfilled desires cause frustration and anger. So Anger compounds delusion, and delusion leads to the loss of memory, which in turn destroys the power of discrimination. And loss of discrimination means loss of self and falling to material consciousness again. Because if you decide you want to play it safe, maybe in the middle ground, you also want to have this, but you also want to have, you also want to surpass this, not doable. You'll have to have your ground. Either stay there where you are, or you can go up to him, be free from all of this, and then see what life has to offer. Because the peace that I have right now, and obviously I did tell you my situation, is really commendable. And nobody can really understand this here. How is this guy even sane? Because this guy is fairly young. Obviously, he got hormones, works out daily, so he must be feeling it more than anybody here. Still is normal. Still is not beating his head against the wall. Also, we are just not able to tell, this guy isn't sorrow or, happiness. What is even going on? He's calm. Although nothing around him looks like he should be calm because, yeah, the way situation is, my guys are panicking here to see me like this. How is he collecting himself together? And how is he not giving into food, not giving into his motorcycle urges? And obviously, because I am the youngest one here, so they know how a child is born. And how is he so normal? My guys do ask me, don't you feel like doing that? And I tell them, yeah, it is there, but I also have some superior control over it. So yeah, it is working out. He's making work it out. And last one, which is the most important one again from this chapter, God himself said, peace comes to one who gives up all desires for self-enjoyment, gives up his ego, gives up his greed, as well as a sense of ownership. And in this enlightened state of consciousness, one never gets confused again. So if one attains this consciousness at the time of death, one gets liberated from the cycle of birth and death, and all suffering ends by entering the spiritual abode of God. So obviously, we people are just not dying today. Maybe the next second, a lot of us are gonna be alive. But peace only comes to those people who give up all of this. And trust me, as much as I want it, 5 to 6 times I want to stay away from it. But staying away is actually fighting it. I have to surpass it. And it can be surpassed once I give up my will to have it. Once I convince myself enough, because it's not like if there is somebody standing in flesh in the most appropriate way, and the situation can't end up in the way you want it, and the way you've always fantasized, I'm gonna give it a no. In my head, though it may be there, it is there, but that thing is not gonna end up in my body. It's not going to end up in that action. Because, yeah, it's in my head, but if I don't take that action, I think I've done 50% of my job here. The real job, just recording any choice or a profit.